Basement, level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and pon the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the truth. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the truth. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for...
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata from City, Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
right, hey, good night. Welcome to Straight Up. My name is Mark Benshop. No, we're not on the Parkway. That is done with. As I've said earlier in the week that the Parkway isn't what it used to be. But we're not here to talk about the Parkway and what it used to be and whatever, because so many things are not what it used to be. Some very, very good and some very, very bad. And we know of the very, very bad days and the bad years under the PPP regime. We know what they have done to destroy Guyana. And we know what happened after they got out of office in 2015. There were lots and lots of damages to be repaired. And that is what, for the most part, the coalition government, the APNU-AFC government, had to do to repair the damages done by the corrupt PPP regime. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Absolutely not. Good night to all of you. As you know, I'm not going to call your names because I don't want others whose names aren't called for them to get upset. So I'm not going to call Beatrice Selby's name. I'm not going to call Michelle Minette Sean's name. I'm not going to call Tony Hack. You know, he gets jealous, his bumps raised, and then he starts to blog. And when he blogs and all manner of things. But outside of that, good night to every single one of you. If you're celebrating your birthday, happy birthday to you. If you're going over the hill, as we all are, gosh, sorry about that, guys. Miss Booker, how are you? Deborah Shiriana Lynch, how are you? Colleen Isaacs. Hey, guess what? Take a look at this photograph. This was on the Parkway. It was on the Parkway. And so these guys, they weren't concerned about going on the truck because they knew that you guys were going to wind to the left, wind to the right, turn around, and boo them. They knew it. They smelled the rat. And so guess what they were doing? They were walking around on the Parkway, trying to ensure that people recognize them. Some of them were hustling, whatever it is. Thank you so much, Grace. Samantha Poole. Samantha Poole has a lot of sense, as most of you on this program. And I say most of you on the program because, there are some trench crappos. They don't usually think for themselves. And so, look, after, this is what I heard. They had some folks who were hunting, looking for politicians in the U.S. so that they can take photographs with them. And when they saw Hakeem Jeffries, the congressman, they were all excited. They were like, come quick, quick. Let me get a photograph. And they rushed. You notice the guy in the white, how he paced up. Look how he paced up. He is the deputy consul general, the Guyana consulate. He's the deputy consul general. Oh gosh, there's a long story about him, but tonight is not the night, right? And so it is said that he feels that he's running the show. The guy on the left is Brotherson. He is the actual consul general, but the guy on the right, in the white, believes that he's the one that's running it, right? So lots and lots of jiggery-pokery, lots and lots of controversies at the Guyana consulate. You would be surprised at some of the folks who are actually there, apart from O.C. Rogers. And O.C. Rogers has a history. Okay. All right. Putting that aside, so when they bumped into Congressman Jeffries, they all got excited. They were eager. They begged security. They even said they are officials of the Guyana government, all manner of things. They begged and they begged to have a photograph with the congressman. The congressman wasn't really having it. He was as polite as he displayed there, professional in the photograph. He, look how they pace up next to him. Look at Onage. Onage pace up next to him. Look at this photo. Just pace up next to the congressman. The one in the white pace up next to the congressman. The one, Onage, pace up next to the congressman. And so even after Jack Dale and Irfan Ali and all these pakus in the PPP cuss out the congressman in so many different ways and on many occasions, they cuss out the congressman. Look who they want to take picture with so that they can possess themselves. I noticed, how many of you guys remember that guy, Roel Johnson? right? How many of you guys remember him? Well, he's writing and he's laughing because he has a blog now, and the PPP is probably Jack Dew and them probably making sure that he's set right, if you know what I mean. And so he is saying he is looking at this as a success story. This is a suck. He's right, a success, because they suck up. They begged for this. He's right. It's a success story, not a success. It's a success story. Vampires. And so enough of this. So I just wanted to set the record straight and let you guys know that they begged and they begged and they begged and they begged for this photograph. Look at them. Oh, look at all these. Look at all these folks in the photograph. They begged and they begged and they begged and they begged. All right. Hey, what's happening? What else is happening in your neck of the woods? Good night again. My name is Mark Benchop. It's Thursday, the 5th day of September. And anybody that was born in the month of September, they're good people. Really, really good people. And I'm not saying that for any particular reason. I'm just saying it because it's the truth. It's not to say that the other months don't have good people. Don't get me wrong. But there's something about September-born people, something about them that is so special. I don't know if you were born on September, someday in September, whether you remember their birthday or not. It's just a special month, a very, very special month. All right. And Kivo Colin, you're right. They bumped into the congressman, right? What else is happening? Nadia Hamilton, how are you doing? And all of you, Emily Durant, haven't seen you in a while on this program. Maybe you now got back your phone. It was missing or something. But good to have you guys back. And not only do we want and we welcome you guys back, share the link, guys. As one other guy that rings the bell, what's his name again? I'm getting a little Duncan. He ring the la, share that blasted link, share that damn. But we don't say that over here. We say, kindly share the link, and thank you so much. We only say it once. Bernadette James, how are you? Lynette Nelson's birthday is on the 14th, and so in advance, happy birthday to you in the event that I forget. What else is happening? Tony Hack is being mischievous. We may have to ban him for the night. He's saying September-born are greedy people. Good night, Tony Hack. Hey, what else is happening? What's happening in Guyana, the police force, guys? What is happening? Can somebody say what's happening in the Guyana police force? Region 1 commander, controversial indeed. According to reports, his U.S. visa was revoked. According to reports. Now, if he wishes to say whether it's true or not, it's up to him. And so we are just saying here on 107.1 FM that according to reports, his U.S. visa was revoked. And as you know, lots and lots of so-called businessmen who are into allegations, according to U.S. law enforcement agencies. Some of those so-called businessmen are into money laundering, gold smuggling, and we've had their names, lots of them. One so-called businessman and his entire family, they were sanctioned recently, and just they want to drag everybody along. Well, this person too, that person too, this person too. And, on this station, 107.1 FM, we are consistent across the board. If they're sanctioned, they're sanctioned. If their visas were revoked, they're revoked. If they're into money laundering and gold smuggling, we report it. We don't hide. We don't go under the bush. We don't beat around. We don't leave anybody out. We are transparent across the board. And that's what we do on 107.1 FM. Brenda Casey has said that she shared. Oh, wow. She shared a link. First time in history, Miss Brenda Casey has actually shared the link. Thank you, Brenda. All right. Brenda always do. Well, most of the time. Miss Booker, how are you doing? And Brenda Norton was a little under the weather. I saw your post, Brenda. If you are still a little under the weather, we just we want to cheer you up here tonight. And so any one of you who happens to be under the weather, we're here to cheer you up as well. And we pray for better days for you. And so back to this commander. People under the coalition, respect for the most part were restored It was restored, sorry, under the coalition government for the police force. Senior police officers, as they say in Guyana, had to dep on their medi. I don't know if many of you, some of you know what that means. Senior police officers or police officers in general had to be on their medi. Y'all know what that means. They had to be on their P's and their Q's. And as soon as the PPP got installed and they got back into office, of course, under questionable circumstances, it's all over again for decency in the Guyana police force. Senior police officers are being accused of being in bed with money launderers, gold smugglers, people who have been sanctioned, all manner of things, people, so-called businessmen whose visas were revoked. Look, corruption under the PPPC in the Guyana police force has never been the way it is since 2020, August 2nd of 2020. Corruption in the Guyana, we're not talking about the government, the so-called government. We're talking about the Guyana police force. It has never been as corrupt as it is right now under the corrupt PPP regime. Now, this commander's photograph that is here, we are not saying that he is corrupt. We don't know whether he is corrupt or not. And believe you me, if you see my facial expression, it's basically, we don't know. But allegations leveled against this senior officer of the Guyana police force are so serious that he had to have been removed from his post as commander for Region 1 after allegations that he had knowledge about this cocaine that was recently found. As you see, the headline here says, major cocaine bust, major cocaine bust, major cocaine bust. And his name is being called. And for some reason or the other, he was removed. He was removed from that, from his position there. Now, we don't know if the commissioner of police is lying or not about certain things. We don't know as yet. All right, so lots of other things we want to talk about. We'll take a quick break, though. Sorry about that, guys. You know, sometimes you get these calls from Guyana when we're on the show. And if you guys have information even from the Guyana police force, do call before. But thanks for that bit of information in terms of massive corruption in the Guyana police force. And there's a high possibility that Hicken, yeah, you guys know Hicken. Hicken is now no stranger to controversy. He's absolutely no stranger to controversy. You see him there with Azraddin Mohammed, who also is no stranger to controversy. They have been sanctioned by the United States of America. And there it is that the acting commissioner of police, who has long passed his retirement age, is there. And according to information, Lots and lots of problems. Just got a phone call about the big problems in the Guyana police force. Who's snitch on who is working for who is giving information to external forces, all manner of things, and who is laughing, whose visa got revoked, all manner of things. And when these things happen in the Guyana police force, or any police force, as a matter of fact, then the public obviously wouldn't have any confidence in the police force. Now, this is not to paint all the police officers with the same brush. We are all aware that there are still good policemen and women there. Unfortunately, those good policemen and women aren't getting an opportunity to do their job or conduct themselves, execute their job in a professional manner because of the massive corruption, not just in the Guyana police force, but in the PPP regime, where certain ministers or any PACU who has become minister under the PPP regime can pick up the phone and call senior members of the Guyana police force and have their dirty work done. Most ministers, or all of them, are doing that, including some corrupt PPP officials. So lots and lots of dirty things happening in the PPP regime. Lots and lots, again, I repeat, lots and lots of dirty things happening in the PPP regime. All right, so what else is happening? Good night to all of you. Again, those of you who are now joining us, welcome. And I'm glad that you're now seeing and hearing about the corrupt police officers. Whether it's SOCU, whether all corruption all over, and allegations of serious corruption all over, whether it's some members of SOCU, whether it's the organized crime unit, whether it's KANU, it is just happening all over again. And you've heard them all. You've heard it all right here on 107.1 FM. And therefore, we are not surprised. You guys are not surprised when you see or read about corruption and who members of the Guyana police force are corrupt. We already know. We know these culprits. All right. Hey, guess what? Enough of that. I want to take you guys to something, and I want you guys to listen to. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Lying Jack Deal. Lying Jack Deal. You've got to, and when you listen to this guy, and for those of you who know how Guyana was when they destroyed the country, money laundering bill, nothing they wanted passed, because the reason why they weren't interested in passing the money laundering bill was because they wanted to protect their friends and their cronies. Jack Deere wanted to protect his friends and cronies. Donald Ramatar and all these folks wanted to protect their friends and cronies who are part of money laundering, corruption, gold smuggling, death squads, and all manner of things they want. And so they had no interest in that. And that is why Guyana was a dangerous place under the PPP regime. Under the PPP regime, they had the biggest tax burden. 16% tax imposed on citizens across that country. And whether they were PPP supporters or not, everyone suffered as a result of that brutal act against the Guyanese people. 16% value-added tax introduced to the Guyanese public. Cost of living was high. Unemployment was high. Youth school dropout rate was the highest ever. The technical institutes and all these technical schools were shut down or destroyed under the PPP regime. All these things. Tuition at the university level, UG there, taken away, snuffed away by the PPP regime. Guyana wasn't able to breathe at all under the PPP regime. Cemetery Road destroyed. Ignored under the PPP regime. But they just recently do a little patch-up work, a little long stretch where they give hundreds of millions of dollars in contract to their friends and cronies, and they have destroyed the entire, they haven't made the road any better or much better based on what they have done. a shabby job. It's going to be destroyed sooner rather than later. And that's what they have done to Guyana. Cemetery Road was a dump site. They called it the Mandela dump site. Sorry about that. I had some English duck from curry from Sybil's. Mandela. The Mandela dump site. They called it that until you know who forced them, even at City Hall, to change the name. You guys know who. In terms of changing the dump site, you guys know what happened. 3 nights in the lockups. Freddie Kissoon tried to run away and said he wasn't part of the protest and he wanted just me alone to get locked up. I said no, Freddie was there. Freddie got in the lockup and he cried for 3 nights. That's a fact. But we're not here to talk about that. He was a crybaby in the lockups. In Brickdam lockups, he was a crybaby. So all these things under the PPP regime. Those of you who were in Guyana, and you drive across, you drive around, where is it, Cemetery Road, you have to wind your windows up if your car had window. For those who were taking their kids to school on horse cart or donkey cart or bicycle, they had no other choice but to just cover their noses. And that's all happened under the PPP, corrupt PPP regime. But at today's press conference, lo and behold, Lionel, this pathological liar, listen to what he had to say. Listen to the lies, and we'll break it down, whatever we can, piece by piece. So grab a glass of Swank, grab a glass of Kool-Aid, grab whatever you want, a coffee, sorry, forget about what Trump grabbed, but just grab something to drink, whether it's Paiwari or whatever. Listen to this Paku. Forget about the fact that he did this for us. Look, take a look. Nasty. Look, take a look. Okay, so did you guys see? Take a look again. Okay, so now you understand. Let's go straight into what he's talking about.
Because we have nothing to hide. Now, I'm not saying that there are no problems with the procurement system. You've heard us many times speak about this, about corruption in some areas. We recently embarked on a countrywide discussion on this matter. The Minister of Finance and I, we were in Essequibo, in Berbice, in Region 5, in different areas, talking to contractors and the regional authorities and laying the rules out that there must be full compliance with the Procurement Act. There was training.
Lie. For 23 years, the Procurement Act and the Procurement Commission was pro-PPP. The PPP just controlled everything. Everybody got contracts. Even now, everybody, their friends and cronies, go into quarantine. You're going to find out what's happening with all the contracts. 3, 4, 5 family members get contracts in different names, different company names, all sorts of things. Their friends and their cronies. People who were walking around Port Morant Market with slippers, Skeldon Market with slippers, suddenly are the biggest contractors in Guyana. They were selling Mabi or Pulori at New Amsterdam Market, whatever is left of at New Amsterdam Market. Suddenly they're big contractors and all these sorts of things. Massive corruption in the Procurement Commission, the Procurement Board, corruption galore. But yet this idiot sits there and talks about, oh, we are doing this. The most corrupt government, if we want to call them government, the most corrupt government in the region is the PPP. That is a fact. The evidence is beyond enormous. Take a listen to this King Liar.
Several companies that are linked to public officials and in some of these regions, and we made it clear to them that once they hold those positions that they cannot bid in their own name. However, if we can't take away the right to work from their family too, once it has nothing to do with their ministry.
Are you kidding me? Did you guys just hear King Liar? He knows. He knows that we're on to him. He knows that they are corrupt. He knows that they are family members of so-called ministers and all. They own they have big contracts, hundreds of millions of dollars. Wife get contract, mamu get contract, mommy get contract, daddy get contract, didi get contract, sissy get contract, aunt, uncle, everybody, even grandmother get contract, nanny and nana get contract, aja and aji get contract, even kaka and kaki get contract. Oops. Oh, yeah, they all got contracts, and he knows it. And, listen to what he said. He said that we cannot take away the right to work. Oh, so suddenly they cannot take away the right to work from those PPP people. Right, Sean and Ryan? But they are depriving scores of individuals whom they perceive to be members of the opposition parties of working. They deny those people, but suddenly the PPP, they have a right to work, and we cannot deny them the right to work. Suddenly, you cannot deny. Corruption is corruption, Jack. They stop pussyfooting around. Stop lying to the nation. Even PPP supporters know that you are lying, Jagdale. You are such a pathological liar. Listen to this basement dweller.
We made that clear. We've tightened up the system enormously for small contractors that we wanted.
Are you kidding me? This guy said he tightened up the system. What system he tightened up? Does he know how a tight system looks? Does he have the capacity or the knowledge or the experience to tighten up a system? No. You cannot tighten up a system. You see, the reason why he's talking about tightening up a system is because he was caught. They're caught. Massive corruption all across Guyana. The procurement board is a waste of time. And so when you bid for a contract, any one of you bid for a contract, there's a 99.9% chance that you're not going to get it because you're not friends and cronies of these corrupt politicians in the PPP regime. And as a result of that, you ain't getting nothing. Forget, you got to suck salt. You got to suck salt or whatever else it is. You are going to be sucking salt in Guyana if you're not close to these guys, these corrupt vagabonds who are destroying that country. But it's nice to listen to King Liar, though, right? Lying, because we all know that he's lying, including PPP supporters, some of whom might be watching and saying, you know what? Ben Chapa, right? Ben Chapa, the right man for them. Dig it in them. Well, not in that, but dig them, Ben Chap. Dig them, Ben Chap. Dig them. Speaking of that, let's take a quick break. We've got to take this quick break. Auntie Data wants to say something.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata from CC Vietnam. And since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Thank you so much, Auntie Data. Auntie Data, there's so many Auntie Datas around Guyana, and I really do mean it. So many Auntie Datas. They get in Georgetown, they get in Manripo, they get quarantined, they get all over. So many Auntie Datas. So don't let Jack Dave Paku you guys. They are lying. He is a pathological liar. People are suffering throughout the country. You think I'm lying? Listen to this.
Oh, Jesus Christ. If cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You got to get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You got to get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Weekend man, monthly man, fortnight man. And then the other man, but... Kwame, Yeah, right. Sorry about that. So while people are struggling in that country, while people are punishing in that country, you know what Irfan Ali and all these guys are doing as they go about? This is what they do.
How we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Fuck, so let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body walk, truck, body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body. Listen, body jump, body jump, body jump.
Meanwhile, people are punishing throughout the country. Now, at his so-called press conference today, he spoke about creation under the PPP of 60,000 jobs. Look, members in the audience, where are those 60,000 jobs? Ask the people in Linden. Ask the young people in Linden. Do they have jobs there? The answer is no. Ask the people in Kokwani, in Ituni. Ask the people of Old England. Ask the people, where are those jobs? But yet Timor sits there at his so-called press conference and lying and lying and lying to the nation about jobs. 60,000 jobs. Before they got installed, they spoke about 50,000 jobs. And so they want to make it appear that they are doing something when in fact they're not doing anything other than corruption, 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 and destruction throughout the country. That is what they're doing. So they have decided as they sit in their dens and they sit and they do whatever and they discuss how are they going to attempt to manipulate the minds of the people. So they have attempted to do so by saying, remember, 50,000 jobs. So before next year's elections, they jumped now and added an extra 10,000 to give this impression that, look, we have fulfilled our election promise with 50,000 jobs. Not only have we done that, we surpassed it by 10,000. So by time next year elections, guess what? They are going to say to you or attempt to brainwash people that they have created over 150,000 jobs in the country with no evidence to show, while cost of living going up and up and up and up. And people throughout the country are punishing, people throughout the country are complaining every single day. So while they talk about cost of living and everything and jobs, jobs they've created, guess what? The people are punishing. Students are punishing every single day. Blackouts upon blackouts upon blackouts upon blackouts in the country. Every single day. Corruption upon corruption upon corruption in the country. And apart from all of that, Guyanese know that the PPP regime and Jack Dave and those vagabonds, including Irfan Ali, and all of them are full of, you guys can say it in the audience, Priya is looking at it, because all of them are full of, good. Speaking of all of them are full of, suddenly they're rushing to Philippi to say that they are going to have proper schools now. They're going to have proper toilets for the kids now. So suddenly they care. For 20-something years, they didn't care, but they expected the coalition for less than 3 years of actually properly governing the country to repair the bloody damage that was done to the entire country. So what they couldn't do in 23 plus years, they wanted the coalition to do in just 3 solid years. Forget about the 2 years extra and all these sort of things, that because they had to, it was an uphill battle for the coalition. But you know what? The coalition did way better than the PPP has done in 23 years. They have ruined Guyana. Listen to Jack Dio. I want to get to a point, please.
Over 2,000 small contractors that have started under the PPP, maybe about 500-600 of them that I know of are Afro-Guyanese companies that did not exist.
Okay, so here what is happening there. Here what is happening. It's corruption, and it's called buying votes. So if they gave a 200,000 contract to a small contractor with no experience, no nothing, it is not a sincere approach to developing the country. It is basically buying votes. So they go into the communities, they find out who's the guy that runs the community. All right, here what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a small contract of about $200,000-$300,000, which is just about 1,500 US, or maybe 2,000 US, and they go into these communities and they attempt to buy votes and to control those communities by attempting to manipulate the minds of individuals in those communities, whether it is Buxton, whether it is Agricola, or wherever, and some parts in Linden as well. That is what they do. And so apart from the small amount of contracts and so forth, 100,000, 200,000, guess what they do? They give the bulk of those people that Jagdeo just mentioned, they give them crumbs. And most of the times, those same small contractors he's talking about, and that they don't see the money. They got to go and spend the money at PPP supporters, PPP businesses. So nothing they get. Some of them are still struggling. Some of them are so ashamed to come forward to say they ain't making nothing by. We ain't making nothing. But they get by because if they want a favor done, if they want a gun license, we got their gun license by. And so sometimes these things mean a lot to certain people, right? And that is what Jagdeo is talking about. There's no proper development. There's no system in place to monitor these contractors. There's no system in place to monitor the works that's being done. And so helter-skelter, they run around like a chicken without head. Well, that describes Jagdeo anyways. And that's what they do. So if they go into Buxton and they get somebody with a feel like a bad boy like in Buxton, you understand? Or they go in Agricola and all sort of things, you understand? Or they go in Linden with Shanghai and those guys, give them a contract to build a school up to now, the school can't done, and every day is excuse upon excuse upon excuse. Whatever happened to the school? Whatever happened to that? Shanghai, are you watching? Yeah, my brother, I'm watching. A bunch of waste of timers. Okay, and we got to call it as it is. We got to say it as it is, guys. So don't listen to this Paku, but continue. Basically debunking the lies and lies and lies, the garbage, the filth coming out of this guy, if we want to describe that as a mouth. We could describe it as something else.
20 when APNU was there, they're now working and getting contracts. We have moved to a raised bait system. We have removed a feature that APNU put in the contracts. Normally, there would be a contingency fund. Under previous PPP governments, there would have been a contingency fund as part of the contract. Last year we discovered that was changed under APNU, and they put a provisional sum in the contracts, and that provisional sum could have been used by the engineer at his discretion. So if there is
just a waste of time listening to this guy. He makes absolutely no sense. He lies and he lies and he lies. So now look, guess what? $7.6 million in oil revenue per day, US dollars. And so what they're taking the money now and they're giving out crumbs to these small contractors. We have African Guyanese. We are giving contracts to clean gutters, to clean drains, to pick up stuff on the street. That is what they are calling contractors. Right, to do a little piece of small stretch road, but they monitor the money, and those same small quote-unquote contractors got to bribe these PPP officials. That is what is happening. And so, they like to pay these, as he claimed, African Guyanese contractors. And so it has changed. Prior to the oil wealth and prior to 2015, they had another way where they were paying some of these African Guyanese contractors. And the kind of contractors that they were then were basically, you know what kind of contractors in the death squads and the killing squads and so forth, right? So they have shifted now because times have changed to some extent. And so they're giving these guys now monies to go and clean gutters, to go and clean drains, to go and guard some of them and so forth and so on. That is what is happening. There's no equal rights and justice. There's no respect for those people, not even those so-called contractors that they have. There's no respect. Those contractors, or if you want to call them contractors, are being used by the PPP. It is called vote buying. And that's exactly what's going on. Now, there is something else I want you guys to listen to. And let's get straight to that, please. We don't want to waste more time, right? Yeah, listen.
The 30-something thousand house lots, more and more people are getting their dreams fulfilled now. But the conversation in the newspapers will never be about that. They will want to sweep that under the carpet, so the Ghanese people will not do that comparison.
Core pit. They want to sweep it under the core pit. Now, these guys have access to all those media houses, right? That they're paying hundreds of millions of dollars to do their propaganda and their dirty works, right? They have bloggers right there at Office of the President. They have bloggers right there at State House. They have bloggers right there at Freedom House. Those bloggers are being paid. They're paid every month $150,000, $200,000 to blog and blog and blog and blog their nonsense. They have the Chronicle, they have NCN, they have DPI, they have all those other radio and TV stations that are sympathetic towards them and guess what? They're being paid handsomely every single month, hundreds of millions of dollars at the end of the year. And guess what? They cannot beat what is happening on social media. And they're very concerned about that. So Jack Dale is talking about the press and this and that. They want press, they want media people to hug them up and kiss them up and spread their propaganda. And we'll touch on that some other time. But there's something that I want him to talk about, so we can talk about that here too as well. At 50 minutes after 9 o'clock on the 5th day of September 2024. Hey guys, if you now join us, good night and welcome.
Conversation about healthcare. You look at the apnea period, talk to the doctors in Georgetown Hospital about the shortages just in Georgetown Hospital and how quickly it came about. No major development of any new infrastructure in the 5 years.
Lies. For those of you who remember, under the PPP regime, because I've gone to so many protests, I've interviewed so many relatives of victims, maternal deaths were rampant under the PPP regime. Jack Dale and those in the PPP didn't care. They turned a blind eye. There was no justice. Whether a mother giving birth died at the so many mothers, died at the Linden Hospital, the Port Morant Hospital, the New Amsterdam Hospital, the Georgetown Public Hospital, the Bartica Hospital, and other hospitals across the country. Dozens of mothers died. Dozens of them. Their babies died under the PPP regime. But yet in 2024, on the 5th of September, Jack Dale has the nerve. He has no shame to say that they had a better healthcare system and that the coalition did nothing in terms of health sector and the infrastructure. There was nothing new. He is such a pathological liar. Go to Port Morant right now and ask them how, prior to 2015, the Port Morant Hospital. I am familiar with the Port Morant Hospital. It was run down under the PPP regime. I'm familiar with New Amsterdam Hospital. It was run down and destroyed under the PPP regime. I'm familiar with Skeldon Hospital, run down and destroyed under the PPP regime. I'm familiar with the hospitals in Blackbush Polder, run down and destroyed under the PPP regime. And let's not talk about the Georgetown Public Hospital. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about the fact that there were 3 patients on one bed, sometimes 4 patients. A mother just given birth, and guess what? She has to share a bed. And this is a guy who's telling you that they were concerned and they were so caring when it comes to the health sector. And this is the same guy telling you guys that the coalition did nothing. Are you kidding me? Hey, good night. Are you guys still taking a shot of something? Take a shot of something, guys, because I'm not done as yet. I'm just not done as yet. Those of you who were there, we were there. There were lots and lots of protests in front of the Georgetown Public Hospital. victims, their relatives were seeking justice. They never got justice. So many lives were destroyed as a result of a weak health sector under the PPP regime. So many people died under mysterious circumstances too. You guys can go and interview the guy who sits there as ambassador at WTO, so-called lab technician doctor Leslie Ramsamy. Go and ask him about those questionable deaths, whether it's Mark Kozerki, whether it's a couple of other guys died under questionable circumstances. Many of you remember this guy, right? Mark Kozerki from the wine bar. He was charged with the killing of George Bacchus. George and Shafiq Bacchus, they died. Well, he was charged together with two other persons, Ashton King, the owner of then A&D Funeral Parlor, right there on Cemetery Road, right? A popular funeral parlor back then when lots and lots of bodies, not bodies were being rushed there. Oh, A&D Funeral Parlor. Ashton King was charged. Sean Hines, another notorious individual, was charged along with this guy, Mark Kozerki, was charged with the murder of George and Shafiq Bacchus. And he couldn't make it in jail. So he threw down himself at the Georgia Magistrates Court and claimed that he wasn't feeling good. And so after he got in the hospital, they realized that this guy gonna be a baby, he gonna chicken out, and he gonna spill the beans if he were to go to prison. So the powers that be at that time, decided that no, we can't take a chance with this guy. This guy is a weakling. He gotta go. And so he died. Mark Kozerki died under questionable circumstances. They didn't want to talk about what went on at Aubrey's Wine Bar. Many of you, if you do know Aubrey's Wine Bar and who body parts cut up or who think, all manner of serious allegations leveled about what took place at that wine bar. But even before all of that and during that period, guess who Jack gave entertaining at State House? Mark Kozerki. They're all hugging up and kissing up. We are family. Jack Day has all his gunmen and they were all family. Jack Day had all of his gunmen and so these are the people who want to talk about decency. Now, back to the health sector. Mark Kozerki died again under questionable circumstances. If you know, you know. Many of you may not know, but a lot of these things that transpired under this corrupt PPP regime. Now, here, wait a minute. He spoke about the health sector, right? And the fact that the coalition didn't what? Under the coalition, this wasn't the color of the water. That's for sure. Under the coalition, that wasn't the color of the water. Surely under the coalition, they hardly had these sort of drugs being shipped out of the country. Now forget about that. Back to the health sector. Under the PPP regime for 20-something years, they never cared about the health of our indigenous children. Never cared. They never cared. Forget about this latrin. You couldn't expect the coalition to do everything in just about 5 years. No, they couldn't, right? This was a health issue, but they were never concerned about that at all. But what they're not going to tell you about this Port Kaituma Hospital that the PPP couldn't do in the 23 years that they've been in office. This was done under the coalition government, right? Under the coalition government, this was done. But you heard Jack Dave just now. He just said that nothing was done under the coalition. But take a look at Port Kaituma Hospital. Guys, take a look at Port Kaituma Hospital under the coalition. Come on. Under the coalition, right? Desiree Chapman. Under the coalition. Take a look at Port Kaituma Hospital. This is what the coalition did for the people of Port Kaituma and communities around there. Thanks to the coalition. But for 23 years, the PPP regime couldn't do this. They couldn't do that at all. But yet Jack Dave just said nothing was done. Not he said it, Listen to her. Listen to
Are now building 12
listen.
major development of any new infrastructure in the 5 years. We are now building 12 new hospitals.
12 new hospitals. You're building 12 new hospitals, private hospitals given to friends and cronies so that they can take away from the public hospitals. So they don't want to develop Linden Hospital. I love Linden Hospital for obvious reasons. I just love that hospital, right? They're not going to develop the health center at Ituni. They're not going to develop any hospital or health centers in Kokwani. But guess what? The coalition government did that and more. They're not going to develop the health center at Kildonan Village. They never did that for the 23 years that they've been in office. But guess what? The coalition did that. They weren't going to develop or repair or do anything to Port Morat Hospital. But guess what? The coalition did that. They're not going to develop hospitals in Georgetown and so forth and so on. But guess what? The coalition did that. They're not going to develop the hospital in New Amsterdam, Maibikuri, or so forth, or even Skeldon Hospital. But guess what? The coalition did that. But this vagabond, this Paku, is going to say that for the 5 years the coalition has been in office, they have not done anything in terms of infrastructure. But under the PPP, 12 hospitals. People got Eat Hospital, your Katahar, your Korhi, your Chamar, your Tede Kabur. People got Eat Hospital. You got take hospital and give them to eat like Bara or like Polari or with Chana, with Little Sour. People got Eat Hospital. Yeah, you don't develop, you don't make better Georgetown Public Hospital. The hospital, West Demerara Hospital, they get rats. You saw the rats? Look, rats. Horrific rat infestation according to Village Voice, and we all know that because we saw the video. Horrific rat infestation at West Demerara Hospital exposes deep-rooted issues in Guyana's healthcare system. This wasn't, my friends, this wasn't under the coalition government. This was recently under the PPP regime. Can we get a shame on you, Barajagdio? Shame on the PPP regime? Look, my friends, don't let the PPP guys lie to you guys. They don't mean well for Guyana. They are as corrupt as they get. Corrupt and lying. He just said and gave you the impression that, oh, all is well. Ronaldine, you're a nurse. You visit West Demerara Hospital. You know the conditions. I have gone there on numerous occasions under the PPP when they were protesting. Nurses were protesting. Doctors were protesting. But yet this Katahar, this core hijab there sits there and lying and lying and lying and lying. But you know what? People know better. People know better, even their own supporters. Oh man, just in May month, a patient is on a bed and big rats, same thing, barats, big rats crawling through the window, crawling up holes, crawling up and biting the man. Those rats were probably substituting for the doctors, the shortage of doctors, the shortage of nurses and so forth, because the few doctors and nurses that they have, guess what? They have to double up, and it's so unfair to them. And even the rats saw how hard those nurses, most of them, have to work, and doctors. And so then the rats decided that they were going to chip in. And the rats went on the bed to check on this guy's diaper. The rat said, we got to change the diaper. Oh, it's wet. Oh, let me check his blood pressure. So that's what the rats were doing, right, Jack Dale? But yet you care so much. The PPP cares so much about the health sector. Oh, but look, you're going to say this is propaganda? Is that what you're going to say? We saw the rats. You can't say that is the opposition people throw the rats there. You can't say that it's Nigel Hughes take a rat out of his pocket and dash it there. You can't say that it is the opposition leader Aubrey Norton take a rat and dash it there. You can't say that, Barat. You can't. We saw it with our own eyes. As some of the people from Weldad and Belladrum and those people, we saw it with our own eyes. You know, there's a reggae song that says, take a look at me. Tell me what you see. Well, you took a look at that video and we know what we saw, Barra Jack there. So shame on you when you want to talk about the health sector. But we're not done yet. He said under the coalition, they didn't do nothing. But we showed you guys the Port Kaituma Hospital. And this hospital was commissioned by the then Minister of Health, Walda Lawrence. She was up there. They opened it. And not only that, the long-awaited Port Kaituma Regional Hospital was officially commissioned today by the Minister of Health. And this was back then. Walda Lawrence, and they added an additional $300 million to ensure that the people get better, the best or close to the best of healthcare in that region. But Jack Dale and the PPP ignore those very people for the 23 years they've been in office. But it took less than 5 years for the coalition to do that. Thank you so much, Walda Lawrence. Thank you so much, coalition. Thank you so much, David Granger. But it wasn't completed. We're not done yet. Remember, it is Jack Dale who said, nothing was done under the coalition. Nothing was done. Them in bill nothing or nothing. And we understand why he talks like that, right? You know why, right? Don't you? We know why he talks like that, but it's okay. Now let's get back to the Port Kaituma Hospital. And during the pandemic, COVID-19, it was a horrible period. And so the PPP coalition, they had no plan. They were condemning and condemning. Meanwhile, a lot of them contracted COVID. They were saved. A lot of them are alive today. And I know why some of them are alive today. Trust me. Thanks to a relative of mine who is a doctor in some parts of the U.S., did whatever necessary. And when I asked, I said, man, what are you really doing? But anyways, a lot of these people are alive today because of the coalition, including Jack Dale. Jack Dale was on his deathbed with COVID, coughing, sneezing, all manner, all kind of thing, messing up himself because of COVID. And had it not been because of a proper health sector under the coalition government, this Paku would have been smelling daisy. Many of them in the PPP would have been smelling daisy because they contracted COVID. And they probably passed it on to others, and others got COVID. And so this guy sits there and he pretends he wants to package and tell you guys that the coalition didn't do this and that, and the evidence. Now let's go. What the vision that the coalition had for the health sector, because the health sector was in ICU when the coalition took over. It was almost dead, the health sector. And thanks to the coalition for reviving that. Thanks to the coalition for making the health sector strong again. Thank you, Walda Lawrence. Thank you to the APNU AFC coalition. But we're not done yet. Moving away from the Port Kaituma Hospital that saved lives. Thank you, coalition. If Jack Dale is watching, Jack Dale wants you to take note. Not in your black book. I don't care. I don't care about the black book anyway. But let's talk about this. Isn't Jack Dale the one who said nothing was built under the coalition? Now, I showed you guys the Port Kaituma. I showed you guys now. I'm showing you guys the disease. The Center for Disease Prevention and Control was built under the coalition. And when the coalition was building this, when this was being constructed, guess what? Jack Dale and the PPP vagabonds at Freedom House, they were cussing. They were going on. Jack Dale lift his skirt and whine and ting up on all sorts of things. He got vex, and they cuss this hospital. They cuss it till cussna there. But during the pandemic, while they were cussing, this hospital saved many of their lives. Their relatives, their friends, and their concubines' lives were saved right there at that hospital. Thanks to the coalition government. Can we give the coalition government a thank you, right? Thanks to the coalition government. But wasn't it the same Jack Dale who said nothing? They were built, nothing was done, nothing was built. And you know how we're catching this guy? He's being caught with his thing, not booked, but he's getting caught. Every single time he opens his mouth, he gets caught because he is known as a pathological liar. Now, if you think that I'm spreading propaganda on this Paku, listen what he had to say. Listen.
No major development of any new infrastructure in the 5 years.
We just showed you guys. So who is lying? Look, how can you guys believe somebody like this? He lies right there. And you know, the funny thing is, nobody there as a reporter, nobody there as a journalist, no one was able to say, but Mr. Jack Day, if you want to call him that, Mr. What about the Port Kaituma Hospital? What about the Center for Disease Control that they call it COVID hospital, but it was more than that. What about that hospital? Talk to us. Nobody there to remind him. What about the repairs of and the good job done with New Amsterdam, Skeldon, and Port Morant Hospital under the coalition? Nobody's there to question this guy. Nobody's there to confront this guy and say that you're a blasted liar. No one is there. Look him out, right? Oh, man. But we're not done yet, guys. At 10 minutes after 10 o'clock, my name is Mark Benshop, and welcome. But look, under the PPP regime, they're not gonna tell you guys this. Take a look. This was 2014 article. For 3 days, no available bed at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation for pregnant women. This was not in 2018 and 17 and 16, you know. This was in 2014 under the PPP, under the corrupt PPP government. But they're not going to tell you guys that. Jack Davis is going to lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and lie. But take this. In 2011, this is the Starbuck News again, beds at the Georgetown Public Hospital. As a result of the limited space available, limited space to blame for bed sharing. So every single thing, it's an excuse. Okay, so the patients had to share their bed because they didn't have space and all manner of things. This wasn't under the coalition, my friend. This was under the PPP in 2011, under the PPP regime. But let's take a look at maternal deaths in the country from 2000. 39, it was the highest per year, 39, and then it goes down because they try to hide numbers and so forth. It went down and down. But look, compliments to the coalition government, maternal deaths reduced significantly. But the PPP regime, based on this chart, they didn't care. They didn't give a rat's you know what about maternal deaths. And no one, as far as I'm aware, ever got any justice. No one ever got justice, all under the PPP regime. So when Jack Day talks about the health sector, said, no, you are lying. That the best days that the health sector ever had, they were under the coalition government. But let's move on. Let's move on and show Jack Dave some more of the evidence. Look, this was in 2011, limited space to blame for hospital sharing. Good. All right. In 2017, government moves to reduce burden on Georgetown Hospital. That was the coalition government. In 2017, had a proper plan to reduce the burden on Georgetown Public Hospital. That was done under the coalition. But yet Jack Davis is saying nothing was done. Of course he is right. Nothing was done, but not under the coalition. Nothing was done for the 23 years under the PPPC's government. And he is correct. Nothing is being done now from August 2nd, 2020 to now under the PPP regime. The evidence, the facts are, look, in 2022, he wants to talk about the health sector, and he gives you guys the impression that all is hunky-dory under the PPP regime. He just spoke about 12. We are building 12 hospitals. He's not telling you private hospitals where monies and pharmaceutical compliments of taxpayers' money will be going to his friends and cronies who own these hospitals. You know what I mean? The sheriff is in town. I shot the sheriff, but I did not. We were speaking of Bob Marley's song, The Sheriff is in Town, right? He's not telling you who's really constructing those 12 hospitals, his friends and his cronies. But look, in 2022, under the PPP regime, not the coalition, husband questions treatment of Port Morant maternity. The husband of maternity patient Nadira Tulsi of 41 Missy B, or Abisem Missy B small days of Port Morant. She died at the hospital. The husband questioned the sort of treatment that she got, which according to him, led to her death under the PPP regime in 2022, where billions and billions of dollars of oil wealth going where? Going to his friends and cronies to build 12 hospitals and 150 hotel. People go hotel all day, every minute. Since you go pay for one hour hotel. Is that what the hotel is all about? People go eat hotel. People go eat hospital, 12 hospital, people go eat it, Jack there. That is form of corruption and possibility form of money laundering as well. So when he talks about the 12 hospital, what should come to mind for the most part? Money laundering. Now check at the bottom, 2021, under the PPP regime. Mother told baby died hours after normal delivery. So a woman goes to give birth and brap, she picnic died. On the normal delivery, under the PPPC regime, Vanessa Lois Sahadev of Williamsburg Quarantine, Region 6 again. Jack Dave should hang his... I'll repeat that. Sorry about that. Jack Dave should hang his head in shame. Shame. Oh, Father, we can go on and on and on with the evidence and to prove that this guy, Jagdev, is indeed a pathological liar. Jagdev, at his so-called press conference, said that the coalition, according to him, was the most corrupt. Can you imagine this guy is saying that? Guyana was known as the most corrupt government under Barrett Jagdev's presidency, where friends and cronies benefited, when drug lords roamed the country inside out, sent out tons and tons of cocaine. We are seeing that all over again. How many of you read the articles written by Dr. Clive Thomas, economist Clive Thomas, talking about the sort of economy, underworld economy? Drugs and cocaine and smuggling of gold and smuggling of all. That's the sort of economy Guyana had under Jagdev, under the PPP. And we are seeing the same all over again. And so he complained at the press conference that people are saying they weren't getting jobs under the coalition. Of course, the coalition was able to make people start to breathe again. In less than 5 years, people were happy. Proper roads were built. Institutions had to be rebuilt because Jagdev and the corrupt PPP destroyed that country. There was no decency. There was no sense of pride. There was no sense of patriotism. Nothing. It was just hustle, money ga mek, while they're destroying the country. And Jagdev has no decency. He has no sense of leadership. He has no sense of patriotism, absolutely nothing. Because had it been for Jagdev, he would have given away a big portion of Guyana to Venezuela in the name of making money.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you
Guyana belonged to Jack Deere, right? So you got to take a piece and give it to Venezuela. Well, if he wants to take a piece, if he wants to give Maduro and them boys a piece, he can give them a piece, but not of Guyana. Not of Guyana. Give them a piece, but certainly not of Guyana. You know what I mean? Anyways, guys, at 18 minutes after 10 o'clock, my name is Mark Benchop. I just thought I'd throw all of that out there to you so that you can understand how dangerous of a liar Jack Deere is, how corrupt these guys are. And notice he described everything else, but he ain't gonna tell you nothing about Sue. He ain't gonna tell you allegations of serious corruption. He's not going to tell you about allegations that he has a bank account in China and all these sort of things, right? And meanwhile, the other Paku's going to tell you that they're about to dismantle all drug operations. Give us a major break. Give us a break. Hopefully soon we'll see some farewell parties of some corrupt senior police officers. Hopefully soon. You never know. But I've got to go, though. It's been a nice night. Thank you all for spending an hour plus with me. I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Same place, same time. As we leave, just be optimistic, though, that there will be a better Guyana. But there can only be a better Guyana if we continue to stand up and to fight and to ensure that we expose this corrupt PPP regime. During this elections process, there will be Pakus jumping out. I've noticed like Roel Johnson, y'all remember that guy, right? Some of you may not remember him. Not really that important to remember. But he is on a mission now, a propaganda mission. There will be many more like him. Not much power and all sort of things. But that guy had the audacity to call David Granger batshit. That's what he said. I'm not saying it. And those are the guys. And that guy was rescued by the coalition, given a job without proper experience, without any sort of academic qualifications or whatever. And you see how this life is, right? Be aware, guys. Open your eyes. Be aware. They are going to be out of their nest. There are more of us against those Pakus. More of us. Be careful, though, with some within our midst. We've got to be careful with some of them. They will expose themselves, though. I wouldn't have to do it here. They will expose themselves. God bless you all. See you guys tomorrow night. Same place, same time. All of us are fed up, aren't we? But not only should we be fed up, we should do something. And those of you, yes, those of you, opposition MPs, those who aren't doing anything should start do something. The time is now.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servants less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fear in the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up.
Hawk 2.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter. And and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by that.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a...
How we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Boxer, let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body walk, truck, body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body, listen, body jump.